today we get to talk to an amazing, extremely talented, fantastic champion for her own work. A woman who is a writer, director, producer, actor, all of the things.
Yep.
And she's fantastically good at it.
She is. She's somebody that you want to emulate yourself.
Yeah.
You know, or emulate in yourself, rather. You don't want to emulate yourself on somebody.
That's
fucking
weird.
Words, man.
Are you okay today?
I'm fine. Because she is, not only is she probably one of the sweetest people
oh my God
we've ever met. She is absolutely lovely. She is also, you can't say a ball buster, but she does not back down. She's had a lifetime of standing up.
Yeah.
You know,
and
I guess a bunch of stuff. And we're going to talk about what she did to stand up for her work.
Yeah.
Right? Against the big A, the almighty A, Amazon.
Well, I mean, it's a bunch of assholes, but.
Well, yeah, but you can't take, you know, the fight was taken to, you know, the platform.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this is an amazing interview, and I'm so excited to be putting it out there and like to get to talk to her about her story and her work. And it was really fun.
Yeah. Well,
so
let's dive into this bad boy and get it on the air so they can listen.
Without further ado, Tucky Williams.
Here we go. Hey, B-Siders. Welcome to another episode of Bravo for the B-Side. This is Jim.
This is Danny.
And we have on the phone with us someone we have been waiting to talk to for a while.
Yeah.
And we're just so excited. We have the writer, director, producer of Girl Scene, the movie and the web series. And listeners, you know we've talked about her by the time this airs, a couple episodes. So hello, Tucky.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being with us.
We're really excited to talk to you.
Oh, I'm excited to talk to you.
We, when Todd reached out about your movie and problems, you know, did a little dive into it and we had to see it and we had to address it, because it's you know, independent filmmaking, there's enough.
It's hard enough already.
Yeah. And then for someone to complete a project and then after all of that misery and headache to have to deal with the trolling and everything, you know, it's, we're just really glad that he came to us with that and, we were able to talk about it.
Well, he's amazing. He's doing really great work. So Todd Kennedy is the best.
He seems like a really busy man.
Yeah, he is. Oh man, he sure is.
Well,
he's a hard worker.
Let's just jump right into this. And
sure.
So as we had told listeners before, Girl Scene, the movie was the evolution of your web series. And we've talked to a couple people who've done web series and then evolved into a film. So what brought you to do the web series to begin with?
Well, actually, I don't think of it so much as a web series. What happened is we started it 10 years ago, and there was no word for what it was because there weren't any streaming services. So actually, I think of it as like a regular television series that's on Netflix or you know, Amazon, like Stranger Things or Ozark or any of those streaming series. So, like, I think when I hear web series, I think of like 5-minute episodes. These were full on 30 to 40-minute things.
That's true.
So, yeah. So, I mean, you can still call it a web series. I just It's just people can kind of get confused. But anyway, this was like a real series, and we started it just because. I mean, I started it because I knew there was an opening for a content that needed to be filled, and this is what people were looking for, and it was something that I really wanted to do and really wanted to make. So I said, hey, let's make it. And we had less than $0 budget when we started. If you watch the first episode, you can tell. I mean, we put our hearts into it, but I mean, it's just barely a camera for the first 2 or 3 episodes, and it took off and it got successful. So gradually we were able to up production quality.
Well, that's awesome.
And we have what you see now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know web series is a hard term to get away from, because a lot of things debut there. But like I said, there wasn't really the level of platforms and the things that we have now, because we did note Girl Scene, the series, is also on Amazon. And and I hope it's catching its audience. Oh
yeah, the series did great.
Well, you had 3 seasons. I mean, that's no small feat.
Mm-hmm. No,
because we've come across a lot of earnest efforts that you can tell. We've watched a couple. It's like, oh, that was it. They only had their 1 season, and they didn't even get all their episodes done because something must have happened along the line. And you can just, you watch an episode and you're like, oh, well, where's the next one? They're gone. It was from 2014.
Gone.
So
yeah. Oh.
But it's great we've encouraged people to start small when getting into this, and they're not really quite sure how to tackle, the movie making aspect of it, because now with the services and the plethora of tools that everyone has available to them for, not a lot of money, you can start moving forward and making, your idea come to life, even as kind of a primer for yourself. Shooting your series, what kinds of things did you learn the hard way that helped you with the film?
Oh, the hard way. Okay, I learned. Well, we're getting heavy right away, aren't we?
Yeah.
What I learned is that the people who are up to no good are the nicest people in the world. And that's the reason they get away with it, is that they're so nice. And so you've got to protect yourself. You've got to insulate yourself. And as soon as you get the idea that maybe someone isn't headed in the right direction or isn't fully on board, it's time to have a high quality no, and say, okay, I think it's time for you to go home, and good luck and everything, and we're just going to keep going ahead. And that's part of it. And the other thing is, in terms of advice, is everybody wants to give you advice. And I'm a woman, and women like men like giving women advice a lot. And so I don't know what it's like to be a man. Maybe male filmmakers get a lot of advice. I don't know, but a lot of people want to tell you what to do. But I think what you need to do is, you do need advice, but it needs to be advice that you seek out. And you need to seek out successful people and ask them for their advice. And the thing is, a really successful person is going to want to help you out. They will want to make the time for you. And the other way to learn is by being around those successful people and saying, hey, I want to come work for you. I'll come work for you for free just so I can learn stuff. That's the other way to learn things. So don't take unsolicited advice, but do seek it out, and do seek out to learn as much as you can through experience.
I like that. That's beautifully put. As we interviewed Eric Schumacher, and he occasionally mentors people coming into the industry as time permits. And he's super serious about trying to help people who come to him. And, he doesn't actively go out and just start attacking people with advice. So that fits right exactly what you said.
Right.
And
the people who know stuff don't do that. The people who know stuff hold back.
Exactly. And I was thinking about some things that he said, and then now hearing you say it, I can't help but think that somebody who's successful and can be really helpful is too busy to be bugging you with unsolicited advice. So that's kind of a signal that, this guy hasn't knocked on my door. He must be busy because he must know what's going on. Maybe I'll go ask him.
Right. Yeah. But also, like, when you are successful, I mean, you appreciate it when somebody comes to you and says, hey, how do I do this? You're like, oh, good. Someone's going to listen and I can help somebody out.
Yeah, I think in the creative community and, well, just in the creative community especially, people who are successful in it want to see other people be successful. You know,
of course, right. That's another thing. Successful people, they encourage the growth in others. They're not trying to keep it all for themselves. They want to spread the wealth.
Yeah.
Indeed. That's kind of why we're not super successful. But we love doing this podcast because it's been nice as time's gone on to hear that people listen to our podcast and took a bit of advice, and to get a quick note like through Twitter, a DM or something that, hey, you know what, I flipped my camera on or my phone on, set it in front of the couch, and I did a monologue, and it was terrible, but I felt so good doing it finally, and those first baby steps, right? Because that's really what it's all about. Baby steps. What kinds of? I mean, what's got you into this? What was your little stepping path to creating like this?
Well, I had always wanted to be an actress because everybody wants to, be in movies and television and stuff. And that's something I just always wanted to do since I was about 4 years old. And then once I was about 14, I wanted to become a writer. And so that kind of became my focus in school. And then I realized you can't make any money doing either of those. And so I studied journalism and meteorology, and I hosted the morning show and did the weather for the morning show here for a little bit. And that was kind of like my way of performing and of giving something to the world, like writing and contributing. And it was artistic in its own way, and you could make money. But then all of a sudden somebody made a movie here, and it was like, what? And I auditioned, and there were 2 lead parts, a man and a woman, and I got the female lead. And it was actually a terrible experience, but when you love something, you want to keep going. So then I made another movie. It was Dead Moon Rising, and it was a huge hit. And after that, I had to keep going with it. And so there weren't a lot of opportunities, and I was sort of at the mercy of people who were directors and people who were making films, and it was up to them whether I was going to succeed or not. And I decided to change that around, and I was going to make my own success. So that's why I started Girl Scene, and I was lucky enough that people liked it. It was the right thing at the right time, and everybody jumped on board. And I was really overwhelmed and tremendously surprised by the love I received for making it. And I'm really grateful for the love I received for making it. It's just been such a blessing in my life over these past years.
Well, it's well earned.
Yeah.
It's a really,
thank you.
It's so, I mean, we're going to just start talking about it right now because,
Please.
all those references and everything.
Yeah.
I guess that's the thing. I guess we could start out with what was the draw to doing a retro, I mean, including visually, because we talked about that a lot in the episode. What was the draw to doing 80s kind of feel, from top to bottom in referencing like St. Elmo's Fire, and then the effects and the lighting and stuff. What was your motivation to wrap this picture up in that kind of wrapping?
That is such a great question, and nobody has asked me that ever. And so thank you for asking me. The motivation was one night, it was my friend's birthday, and he said what he wanted to do was watch The Breakfast Club. And I was like, okay, I have about 3 copies. So we put one in. And basically what had happened is Girl Scene had just been this huge hit on Amazon, the series. And I was like, obviously the next thing I had to do was make a movie or another season of it. And I had no inspiration whatsoever. Nothing. I couldn't come up with anything. If you don't have the inspiration, you just can't do it. It's just nothing. Nothing was there. But then we watched The Breakfast Club, and I was like, oh, okay, that's it. That's the answer. John Hughes. And then Judd Nelson. I kind of got fixated on him because I sort of have this fixation on men who appeal to men and women, like across gender and sexual orientation lines. And Judd Nelson is one of those people, like everybody finds him attractive. Everyone. And then so I was like, I had to see every Judd Nelson movie. And then I saw St. Elmo's Fire, which I had not ever seen in my life. And I was like, oh my God, this movie is terrible. And it is. But it's wonderful.
Yes.
I kept watching it, and then I watched this terrible movie over and over again. I took it to my parents' house and had them watch it, and I realized what it was. It was not a terrible movie. Joel Schumacher was onto something brilliant. And then so that combined together. So if you watch the movie, it's like every John Hughes movie is referenced in there, except for maybe Home Alone. But every other one of his movies is in that movie. In the spirit of a John Hughes. I just wanted to make a John Hughes film, pretty much. And then my friend Mark, who was the DP and editor on this, he was at the same time, there's a new retro wave 80s movement. So it's like there's new music, but it's 80s music. And it's kind of like the way Stranger Things became popular. I already brought Stranger Things, but all this 80s stuff has been coming up and been becoming popular. That's like the new fun retro thing. Mm-hmm. And he was really into that. He got me introduced into that style of music. And like Atomic Blonde, I think, was another inspiration for this, for putting it in the 80s. And so we were both on the same page with that. So we said, let's go for it. And I listened to your show before, and you said so many wonderful things about the movie, but one of the things that meant the most to me is that nobody knew how hard it was to write that terrible dialogue. I want some more credit for that, because I think people just listen to it, go, oh, it must have been so easy to write that terrible dialogue. No, do you know how hard that was? Because you're sitting there at the computer cringing, and you go, oh God, do I really say that? That is so painful. That is just, oh my God, that's such an obvious hack joke. And you're like, no, you have to do it. You have to go there. You have to write this terrible, terrible 80s dialogue. And I think the trick to writing bad dialogue is just, well, I mean, it has to be good at being bad, which I don't know how. I think I pulled that off, and I don't know how. But the other thing is through terrible dialogue, you have to truly convey emotion and emotional content and what these characters are going through.
Yes.
I hope I did that.
I think you did.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I think we've talked about, and with other people and with each other, because we're a writing team, and the commitment to the character when you're writing your script and the dialogue, there are some moments in scripts we've done where it's been cringeworthy. Like, I would never say that, and I can't believe I actually put that through my fingers, but that's what the character would say, or that's the tone. Right. It's like writing, dad jokes.
Yes, very much so.
I love dad jokes.
Well, you love it because I annoy our daughter with them. She's so fun when she responds. But we did mention that not only did you do an excellent job doing all that, but the whole thing of doing an homage film and taking scenes and basically duplicating them, but with enough difference that, you can see that, okay, this is from St. Elmo's Fire. That's this based on.
Well, making it your own thing, but at the same time paying tribute to, the movies and the person who's your inspiration for them.
Yeah, because the instinct is, well, if I have this in my hands, I'm going to improve it. Because like I said in the episode, I loved St. Elmo's Fire. It wasn't a great movie, but for a young person back then when it came out, that was, like I said, that was the whole thing. Touchy-feely, getting those emotions, forget the characters. They're as paper and one-dimensional as you can make them. But, that's my secret pleasure. I saw that thing like 5 times in the theater.
Oh, how great.
But I mean, but you did such a great job of holding on to that.
Thank you.
That I want to call it lifeless dialogue. Well, because when you watch the movie, and we still have to get Danny to watch it. We got to find the time to carve that out. But it's when you're watching that film, as they're talking, there's not a lot of acting. It's almost like they're hitting their beats, they're saying their lines, and you can, in the background, you can hear the director. Okay, we got 10 seconds left. We got 5 seconds left. He's on a schedule. He just wants to get this done. It was still fun, and it still made its mark. But yeah, it was. Yours was so much more fun, especially the changes with Ryan, having her doing Demi Moore's character. She was a blast.
Yeah, she was amazing.
And I know she wasn't strictly Demi Moore's character, but the circumstances. But her performance alone shows how much work went into taking dialogue and keeping that feeling. But she cracked us up. She did such a wonderful job playing through that character. And it was refreshing because it brought a whole new feel to the St. Elmo's fire and, John Hughes kind of vibe. I don't know. She did something. I don't know if there's a word for it other than, excellently acted that part.
Yeah, it was one of those things. It was a really difficult part to cast because of that, because of that character was just so crazy. And I think the temptation was just to play a crazy girl. And she really played someone who was deeply disturbed. She came out the right way. I mean, a lesser actress would have just come out as like, oh, I'm a crazy girl and I'm having fun. But she really went to a dark place and said, okay, wait, I have this material. I'm going to make it as dark as I can. And it ends up being really, really funny to watch her perform that. I don't know if you can tell, but in one of the scenes, I'm smiling because I just can't keep a straight face. It's the scene in the kitchen when she comes in. She's hysterical because she's been drugged.
Oh yeah.
I just couldn't. I couldn't get through that without smiling. And it was about 2:00 in the morning, and you're slap happy, and all of a sudden someone's giving the comedic performance of a lifetime about 2 feet away from you, and oh my God, there was just this little girl looking at me like the worst thing had ever happened to her in her life. I just couldn't keep it together. That was one of the great delights of my filmmaking career, was watching her have a meltdown right in front of me for like an hour.
So, kind of transitioning to, so you made this fantastic movie and then you released it. And then the reason that, we were contacted was because you got attacked by trolls. This movie, these people went onto Amazon and gave it a bunch of bad reviews, and then Amazon took it down. I mean, that's vastly oversimplifying it, but you stood up to them and you got it back up there. So can you tell us a little bit about when you realized that this had started happening, or kind of what went into?
Okay, so the movie came out and it just it didn't really come out with a bang. It was 2 months of it being out, and nothing really happened, and all of a sudden just spiked up in viewership. And then there were 2 months of not really much happening, and then all of a sudden just crazy viewership that kept climbing and climbing, and that was when the hate started coming. That was when it started getting 1-star bombed on IMDb, and that was when it was getting those weird reviews on Amazon where the people were saying they hadn't even watched it, or they were saying things about it that had happened in the movie that hadn't happened in the movie, and it was just these bizarre reviews that really seemed to be, it really seemed like there was somebody organizing this effort to hey, write bad stuff about this movie. And so it basically comes from incel culture, hate culture. Recently, in Canada, incel culture has been designated as terrorism against women. And in this case, especially, it was terrorism against lesbians. And so this isn't just regular trolling. This is a true hate crime.
Yeah.
The things that they were saying. And I mean, honestly, if this were being distributed in Canada, the Canadian government would make those comments come down. But it took it to another level. It was just extraordinarily hurtful, I guess you could say, that someone could be making these hate statements, and if they were saying about any other group, and fill it in the blank with any other minority, put in any other hate word, and it would have immediately been like, oh, this is hate, we're taking it down, we're not tolerating this. But because it was about lesbians, it was like, oh, that's okay, that's just their opinion. And I was not okay with that.
Well,
no one should be.
Understandably, yeah, no one should be.
So what?
Yeah. Well, some people were okay with that, and they took the movie down.
Yeah. We could do a whole separate episode on the beast that is Amazon and its practices.
We still have so far to go with mainstream culture accepting LGBTQ and all of this stuff. It frustrates me to no end.
I know, and we have sometimes a hard time explaining these kinds of situations to our daughter, simply because she's 11, so she doesn't have the life experience vocabulary to fully get the whole picture. So we have to kind of piecemeal it and sum it up, like oversimplify it with it's not okay. I mean, that's just the simple, thing. It's not okay. And there's these people who like to do this and people who like to live like that. And they're just people, because everybody likes to live like how they like to live. And as long as you're not harming another person, nobody should be saying anything about it. And she's pretty quick. She gets it. Like we just recently let her watch Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's been a long climb to that. She's seen a couple like musical numbers, little bits here and there. And we had a talk and figured she was ready to take this on, and talked about it with her for a little bit, and boom. And one of the things was she said two things. One, she said, well, I can see why you had me wait, which was, pretty clever. And then the other thing was, I don't know why people have a problem with this, and it's so innocent to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, this is one struggle that was brought to our attention. I can't even imagine how many more people are struggling out there with their work, from all these different groups. It's just immensely frustrating. Because we had said, a lot of people, when this kind of thing happens, they're like, oh man, that sucked. Had a good run and it went away. What was the trigger that took you past that point where you weren't complacent about it, and where thinking this isn't okay wasn't enough and actually propelled you into action?
Well, this is based on a whole lifetime of hate directed at me. I became politically active in the gay and lesbian rights movement when I was 15 years old, and the next year I was president of my university's gay and lesbian student union. And so since then, I've had just tremendous amounts of hate thrown in my direction. I mean, it's just been nonstop through my life, and it's been something I've had to fight and fight and fight and fight, and the fight has never ceased for a single moment. So when this happened, it was just like, oh, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's just been on nonstop from various, like from YouTube that was a huge one. And, but then to have it happen like this, to have actual hate be the cause of why it was taken down. I mean, not, oh, I don't like it. Just just the horrible, vile things they were saying. You know, and the incel culture is also, you know, pretty closely related to the white supremacy culture.
Mhm.
They're all interconnected, and you know, it's just this horrible, horrible thing. But because it was, I feel like if it had been about gay men, it would have been okay. But because it was about lesbians, people just like, oh yeah, well, they're kind of slutty anyway, so we're going to take it down because that's pornography. And I hate that lesbians are sexualized. I said to someone on Twitter, I have to put that I'm an LGBT filmmaker. I can't put that I'm a lesbian filmmaker, because if I put that I'm a lesbian filmmaker, people think I'm making like pornography.
Right.
I have to put LGBT. I'm only the L, okay? I'm not the G, B, or T. My movies aren't for the G, B, or T, but I have to put that in there because otherwise it's just this culture assumes that lesbians exist solely for the purpose of male sexual gratification. So that if I'm making a movie about lesbians, it's because I want to make porno to turn men on. That's what people assume. And so then I got those hate reviews because the incels were getting furious that you know, the girls weren't having sex in the movie. It was just an actual movie. And it was so that's what made me mad. It was just this whole lifetime of fighting. And I've got to say, when this happened, I was just like, oh my God, I'm so tired of fighting this. I'm so tired. I just want to give up. But no, I kept going, and it turned out to be that a lot of other people were just as mad as I was, and that was great. Got some big names on Twitter involved behind it, and then of course everybody who is a fan of the show wrote an email to Amazon. I said, write to Amazon and tell them how you feel about it. I didn't even say write to them and tell them you don't like it. I didn't say write to them and tell them, just to tell them what it makes you feel. Just send them an email really quickly, and apparently everybody did. That's the happy ending to this story, is that in the face of this true hate, this terroristic hate, people came together and stood up for what was right.
That's awesome. He's coughing. Yeah. Hold on.
I took a sip of coffee and it went down the wrong pipe.
Oh.
The movement to get people to do that is so encouraging. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's always a bright thing. It's frustrating that something has to happen to get that kind of like glowy response. And if we had heard about it when it was happening, we would definitely have been on it. You. Oh, sure. And that's the problem.
Thank you so much.
It's this. Okay, so this is it's a hate.
Well, it's a hate situation, crime. Yeah.
Right. But it's happening in on a film against a film. And those things, there's so much out there now. It's impossible to like throw a big enough net to catch everything each day and kind of, you know, stay focused. And it kind of upsets me that something like this did pass us by, you know. And I hope people will take a lesson from this. And, you know, we have social media. I hate social media, but we have to deal with it, to promote the show and stuff. But this is the kind of thing, get it out there, folks. If you're listening and you're like, oh, that's bullshit. Hey, it takes you a minute to pull out the phone, send out a tweet and say, hey, this is bullshit. This is no good.
Yeah.
And get it out there. Because if even 3 people see it and talk about it, maybe you've got 6 more people aware. And that's how it starts. Tiny ripples.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some more joyous things.
All right.
let's go on the uphill of the coaster. So now that this is doing well again, I mean, it's back. And, you know, it's going to keep going. And hopefully Amazon's not dumb enough to fall victim to their algorithm again. One of the things I liked about this was just the few shots at the end of the movie with the sound guy and another gentleman. I'm not sure what he was doing, but he just kept side-eyeing the camera because they were close up on him. I love those little intimate parts. What kind of experiences working, you know, this closely with these people did you have? I mean, what Were there any?
Well, I think what you're getting at is what they say is making the movie is usually more interesting than the movie itself.
Right.
Like the experiences on set and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, in terms of the actresses, that mirrored real life in a lot of ways. They were really they were really committed. It was amazing. It was like, oh, this is really happening. But the crew it was actually like all my best friends and my mom. So it was my friends Jerry and Mark and Todd and Grizzly, and then my mom, and it was basically just the five of us doing everything. So it was, I mean, these are the people I spend all my time with anyway. And then we got together and worked, like, usually you can't be friends with someone and work that hard with them, but we all got together and we worked and we made this movie together. So it was, I mean, it was horrible, horrible hard work, but at the same time, it's with the people you love. And I think that shows in the movie.
I think it does.
I think that shows in the end, in the final product, that we all are just really fond of each other and we all appreciate each other. And that's one of the things you went back to, is about whittling it down and getting rid of the negative people. And that's a place I finally feel like I came to, is it's like, okay, all the negative people have been weeded out and now it's just all positive.
Well, there is. In fact, even if you watch the show, or the movie closely, you can see, like you said, you were smiling when Ryan was going through her thing. But
Mm-hmm.
I saw so many little instances where was it where she was tackling when they went, I'm trying to think which one, but when they would interact just before the cut, you can kind of see a smirk on someone's face.
Yeah.
Like they know it's coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it made it really fun. It added to it. And we did get and then those bits at the end just really felt like, man, this must have been fun. In spite of all the headaches that come with filmmaking and stuff. If you have people you care about and care about you, and you're working close, it ends up being fun. I have a question on the lighting.
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
That's now, to get those effects, where I was just curious from a technical aspect, was a lot of that shot with lighting with the hot spots and the burnouts, and then some things added after, or did you shoot conventionally and then flare everything up in post-production?
The latter. But the DP also did the lighting, and he set it up. I mean, there were neon lights shot in my house, actually my bedroom, which is where I am right now. So there were like neon lights running everywhere, up the walls, down the floor, all over the place. So he had it. He had a plan, man. And so no, it did. All of the stuff you're talking about though was done in post, but he had it set up. So if we take all that out, it still looks like a very 80s movie. It just doesn't have he said all the blue light. It doesn't have all the blue light in it. All the it looks like a regular not shot on Betamax movie.
Well, he did an excellent job. So big hat tip.
I'll tell him. Oh, thank you. I will tell him that.
Oh, absolutely. As a photographer, I always look at how people light film, and I've seen a lot of people talk about it, but these are people who worked back in the days when they actually used film in the canisters on the camera instead of digital and stuff. And and when I started photography, it was film, and it's that whole, well, I better have this technically correct, because when I go to develop it, there's not a lot of room to, correct these things. It's a mystery. So I always admire people who can do the lighting and see, like, wait till you see it on the screen. Wait till you see it on the screen. Because you walk into a place and you're like, I don't know about this. Wait till you see it on the screen.
Yeah, right. No, he storyboarded it. He had all the lights ready to go the day we started production. It was setting up the lights right away. He set up the lights before production. There were just lights everywhere in my house. They were running all over the place. And I kind of miss them because they made my room look really good. I should just, now that I'm thinking about it, I should just have them come over and do my room up that way.
There you go.
Yeah, just fire it up.
Yeah, it should. Something you guys said was that the actors had been playing their parts for a long time. This was an entirely new cast. Every time I've done the series, I've rebooted the cast. So the only people who came back were me and Trista, Ronnie, the girl who played Trista.
Okay.
But everybody else was brand new. And two of those girls, it was their first movie ever. Well, one of the girls, it was her first acting ever. And so it was everybody met that day. So you're seeing all these people. They didn't know each other, but all of a sudden they had to act like best friends. I just wanted to throw that out there. This was a totally new cast and people who had never acted before. I was really proud of them.
Nice.
Well, you should be.
Yeah.
So we hadn't seen the web series. So we didn't know that. So thanks for letting us know that. But it's a huge credit to the actors that it seemed like they had been playing their characters forever.
And I went.
Well, I had 2,000 people audition, and then Dove was applied right away. And then the last day I was going to look at people to cast was when Ryan applied. So at the beginning and the end of the 2,000 people I went through, and I looked at everybody. I really did. It was just so funny. It was one of the first ones, and then the very last one who applied.
Nice. I took it under presumption because I have to do image searches to find posters and things so we can do the graphics and stuff for the episode. And curiously enough, all of the stuff that kept coming up was for the series, and it was saying series, but it had pictures of from the movie. Scene shot of you and Trista and Ryan and Dove and Bridget, just all of it. And so I just took it under the assumption that, okay, well, any one of these will do because it's, they were all together. So yeah, that was my mistake in my
that's
flawed media search.
It's all under one title, so all the different casts, they're all in on it for the rest of their lives. So I just consider it one big group.
What is your favorite piece of the movie? And that can be from as a viewer, but as a writer, director, from any level. What?
Oh well, I know. I mean, one of my the scene with they're both Ryan scenes. 3 Ryan scenes is so the one with Ryan and Dove, where she tells Dove that Dove is in love with Evan.
Mm-hmm.
I love that scene. That was one that was really painful to write because those jokes were so terrible. Oh, listen to that again. Those jokes were so bad. And the cool thing is the girl who played Dove didn't know that this was satire and didn't know that those jokes were bad. And I was talking to Amanda, who played Bridget, and I was like, she has no idea. And Amanda goes, do not tell her. Let her think that this is the real thing. Do not let her know that this is a satire. So I don't know what she thought when it came out. I don't know if anybody explained it to her. So she was doing it with full commitment. She had no idea that it was what she was saying was just horrible. So that's a good scene. I liked it because the dialogue's so bad, and yet they played it with such commitment. and then the Ryan and Trista scenes. There's the fight they have outside Trista's wife's townhouse, and then there's the fight they have in Ryan's bedroom where she's trying to get Trista back on the bed.
Yes.
And that was another time when she's trying to get Trista back on the bed, where nobody could stop laughing. And if you look at Ronnie, who plays Trista, her face is buried in the comforter of the bed. She has her face pushed in the comforter of the bed because she can't breathe because she's laughing so hard. And if you pay attention, you can hear me laughing off camera, off to the right. I wasn't looking. I had my eyes closed. I was just looking at the script. But I just couldn't breathe. They were laughing. It was so funny to see that little tiny girl. And this is exactly how I envisioned it. This is exactly how I wanted it to be. And then see it happening in front of you. And then the underpants thing. Oh, my God. So I had to go out and buy them underpants. because I knew all this was going to be showing, right? And so and I was just so glad they were going for it, man. They were just letting those skirts fly up. I'll tell you, like, Ronnie got her own underpants, because Ronnie's been in movies a long time. She knows how to take care of herself. But the one who played Ryan had never done anything before, TV or movies or anything. And so I went out to Victoria's Secret, and they had that thing for, like, I don't know, 10 for $60, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I got her, like, 10 underwear to pick from for, like, 2 different scenes. So I was like, I didn't even know what her size was, really, so I knew she was either small or extra small. So I bought a whole bunch of stuff, and I was like, just pick whatever's right for you. And then she did, and then she just kept it all. I love that. That was so great. It's like, she just thought she was supposed to keep all the underpants, even the ones she didn't wear in the movie. And I was like, well, okay. It was a very cute young actress thing. It was a very cute young actress story. But anyway, those are my favorite scenes. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but tell me what you think.
One of my favorite things was Ryan and Trista, the bed wrestling bit, trying to get Trista back up there. Cause I don't know. There was just something pure about it. Not from the homage aspect, but I think we've all kind of had a moment in life where we've been in a similar situation. Just get back up in the bed.
Really? Oh my God. Really?
Well, I know.
Maybe not exactly.
Well, not like that, but man, I don't know. I've had a lot of inebriated, overdone it friends who, trying to deposit them in some sort of, holding device, tuck them away.
Yeah. Well, Ronnie's a professional wrestler, so she's really, really good at physical comedy. And if you watch it, she almost kills herself twice falling out of that bed, if you look. And so I was like, oh my gosh, she almost hit her head on that. No, she didn't almost hit her head on that. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows where everything is. So when you see her crashing around, it's because she's trained and she knows how to do it. So that really worked well in that scene. And that also worked well in their little tussle and prom dresses outside the house.
That was my favorite one, was the one outside the house.
I know. It was so great. And then Ronnie was laughing through that one too. That little tiny thing on the top of her, just giving it everything she had. And then they had those dresses on. That made it so much better. I said, this has to be a fight in prom dresses with the dresses are flying up and you can see their underpants because they're just so stupid and so high on drugs. They don't know what's happening.
Oh, okay.
Are you good?
I'm good. Yeah. This is going to make seeing it again even more fun. One thing about projects like this is we've talked about occasionally some indie filmmakers end up doing what we call the Joss Whedon effect, where over a period of time you build like this posse that is
your core troupe.
Yeah, your Rolodex of for sure yeses when you want to do a project.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've been building, or do you find yourself seeking out when you're like thinking of something? Ooh, I'm going to do this. Do you envision people you've worked with, or are you strictly, can't wait to see who's going to do this one?
Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Like I said, I usually get new people every time, but there are people who have stuck around with me since the beginning, like Ronnie. And then if I work with somebody on something, it doesn't even have to be one of my projects necessarily. I'm going to use that person if they're easy to work with. And they, if they can speak and deliver a line and they're easy to work with and deliver, then I am definitely going to use that person again. So yeah, there is rollover quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just flip through my catalog of stuff. It's not even girl seeing this other stuff I've been in. It's like you'll see the same people over and over again, and there's a reason for that.
Well, I think that's good. I think, having your people you can count on, especially in indie film, and in the creative world. It's your tribe,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So as a writer, director, producer, and actor, in the movie. That's a lot of hats to wear.
Yeah.
So I know that from from a directing aspect, you want to make sure that, I don't know, it's really weird, like hard to put it into words, but you want to make sure that everyone is on kind of like your page as a director. But then you also have this sort of strange dynamic when you're acting and directing where instead of being the director, you are also part of the crew. And did you find that like created any, like difficulties with regards to your directing? I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, so you've probably got it nailed down by now. But is there anything that you kind of learned from doing that dual, quadruple roles?
I mean, I've just been doing it forever. I think when I watched the movie, sometimes I should have gone, I should have focused more on the acting in this particular thing. But, like it was, like 2 o'clock in the morning and I had been doing it all day. But the way I set up the schedule was that my character could walk into a scene at any time. So, we'd be shooting all day, but maybe I'd only do 1 or 2 scenes in a day. But that was every single day so that I didn't have to fly people back and forth. That I was able to schedule things a lot more easily. So it was like I was always dressed and always ready to go and ready to jump into a scene. And so, maybe that helped that I was always in character. And then, like you said, I'm just used to it. I mean, this has been going on forever that I just go in and out and in and out. And I would love to stay in character full time, and I kind of do to a certain extent. But you just have to be able to turn on a dime and go all of a sudden into a really just change your just turn. Yeah, I guess I have gotten good at turning it on and off really quickly. Yeah. I don't know. I have to think about that more.
One thing I just want to ask, because we've had this come up the last few times we've spoken with somebody about a production manager. Did you set up your shoots and scheduling, or did you have someone doing that for you? Oh my God,
of course. Of course I did. Anybody else would mess it up. I mean, if people just don't know how to do it. So I had to set up everything. All the girls, like for the second shoot weekend, they all arrived from different cities at the same time. And like someone finally noticed, they were like, hey, wait, we all got here at the same time. They're like, did you do that? I'm like, yeah, I did that. I think a lot of people take for granted how hard it is to set stuff up. So, I mean, there was never like a moment where someone's time wasn't being utilized fully. Yeah, because I mean that would have taken production a lot longer if people were just sitting around not doing anything. So every actress, I mean, it was always her scene anytime she was here. I mean, I found out like Ryan was in my bathroom for like an hour while we shot a scene, and I was like, oh damn. But hey, that was like the only time that happened.
Because we had just spoken with David Ryan Keith and Liam Matheson of Redwood Massacre, and one of the funny and it was what they had mentioned. We had also heard from Failure Boys Productions, who did Attack of the Taddybogle, where in both cases they're talking about how they're doing these filming and they get their scenes set up and spend the day shooting it, and then at some point they realized, oh shit, what do we do? We're kind of stuck. And then in Failure Boy's case,
Pete's
wife. And then in this case, it was David's then girlfriend, soon to be his wife, showed up one day with a spreadsheet and said, all right, look,
listen,
this is what you're going to do. Yeah. Tired of listening to you belly aching. Okay. Let's get this done. You spend, last 2 days, you've done nothing. So here we go. And they became the production managers. And it's it's funny to hear that. And then yet
sounds like they were the ones directing the movie, honestly.
Pretty much. It's so funny with David because you realize how at the mercy you can be of somebody who's a production manager, because he switched from doing everything himself to, getting used to being told, okay, you have an hour, go. This one, you've got this. And then when that was pointed out to him, it's like, yeah, but she lies, doesn't she? But to be able to do that, I mean, that is impressive. Because a lot of people, well, they run out and they do their thing, and I get it. It's exciting, and we got the stuff, and we got the people. Let's go. But
it's easy to get overwhelmed by like the creative energy of the process and forget about we have to be organized about doing this. Otherwise,
well, I mean, just from being an actress myself, I don't like wasting. I don't want to be on a set where for hours and not be being used. On an indie film. I mean, if I were in a major film, okay, well, then I would have a trailer, I'd have a place to sit, a place to go, but I don't want to show up for an indie movie. And I mean, that's happened before that I've been there for, I think one day I waited 8 hours before I shot a scene on an indie film. And I mean, I almost walked because I was so upset. So, but I mean, even in the case here, if somebody had to wait a long time, like I make sure they're taken care of. I make sure they have a place to lie down or stuff to eat. But that also never happens because I have everything scheduled and exactly how long it's going to take. You just have to have everything planned out. You have to have a shot list for every day. So it's like, I'm going to shoot this. We're going to shoot this scene. Well, no, you have to break it down into all the shots you're going to do for that scene. And then, you just have to go through it one by one by one. I mean, I think a director's job in indie is to do everything. And if you have someone who's not doing everything, then the movie's not going to be as good.
Well, Danny in a previous job had a, I don't know what it's not an analogy, but an example of the two kinds of people that work, and they based them on Muppets. So they have order Muppets and chaos Muppets. And, we've had a lot of fun discerning which one of us is which. And it's been long ago decided I'm an order Muppet.
He's Bert. Yeah. I'm Ernie.
I have an uncontrollably anal retentive approach to life where I have to have the details down. I just can't. And it's funny hearing people like go willy nilly. Like we grabbed our cameras, walked out into the field and said, go. I'm like, what? Go what? Who did you call? Did everyone show up? Did you know they were coming?
Yeah.
Did they know where you were filming today?
Yeah. Right.
So I am firmly on your side for that one. That is, excellent to hear. But now with all that scheduling, have you had to do that? Just wipe the slate clean and hike up your pants and okay, we got to charge forward because everything we had planned just, went to dust. And we got to make the most of something. Have you ever had to deal with that?
No, you just gotta have a backup plan for everything, and So like, we just have to have a backup plan for everything. And I mean, I did another series, Dagger Kiss, where about half of it was exteriors, and it's just the rule. Anytime you're doing an exterior shot, it's going to rain that day, so you have to have a backup for that. And so that was every day I would get up, and I would have to see what the weather was going to be, and the schedule was kind of flowing. We were either going to do an indoor shoot that day or an outdoor shoot that day, and it depended on which actors. So I'd have to ask the actors, can you be available Tuesday and Thursday? And we'll probably get you done on Tuesday and get you wrapped, but I also need you to keep Thursday open in case Tuesday's busy. So the shooting out exteriors is terrible. But I mean, I think with this last movie, the only thing was and it's real, the house, the location, the house that the parties were in. It was one day it was sort of like the last major production day, and they had people called and they were like, oh, it's kind of not a good day for us. And I was like, okay, they were just regular people. I was like, okay, you don't understand. I have an actress here from New York. This is a production, like, we're coming. This has to happen. But, that had to be like an hour on the phone, and me being, slightly stressed out that this was going to be an issue. But it was just sort of like, well, I'm going to show up no matter what. You're going to have to deal with it. But there's always somebody. You just have to be prepared for it. But then, then you get up and you go, okay, well, we're an hour behind schedule because they had to be on the phone for an hour. And then people just kind of look at you like, is she making this up, or does she just sleep in bed an extra hour? And, but it's like, it's just constant work. And, I feel like, after 8 or 10 hours of shooting, I'm done because I've been doing the other stuff too. And then like the talent, they're just ready to go. Like they're just getting started. And so, it's just funny the difference. Because always, actors think their job is so hard. It's like, oh, you have no idea. You have no idea how hard your job is. Because your job is so easy. You just get to show up and say lines that somebody else wrote. That's the easiest job in the world. But when you're doing everything, it's like a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you just have to have a backup for all of it, for everything. Have something to fall back on.
Well, here's the question then: do you have an urge to do one of these things, like just one? I mean, you're doing all this and having the control and seeing these projects come to life is great. But have you ever just had a thought where like, if I could land something where I would just act, and that's all I had to worry about this production is one piece.
I was in the movie Clown Nightmare, which just got huge in Italy. Like, I'm serious. This is like new news. Like a couple weeks ago, it just got huge in Italy. And I was just acting in that movie. Clown Nightmare, yeah. It's like a really big deal in Italy. I don't know why Italy. We just don't know why, but we're really happy about it. But that was so great because all I had to do was show up and act. It was like, I put everything I had into it. Don't get me wrong. But I gave it everything I had, but it was so easy. Like I could just focus on the acting. And it was like, this is great, and I was eating, and I was eating regularly, and when it wasn't my time to be, on camera, I would just sit down and play on my phone. It was so much nicer. So I think ideally, I would just act and write. That's what I wanted to do, and that's what I started out doing. But basically, my job progressed into everything else because I was the only one who could get it would just happen naturally. It's just people kept turning to me as like, what do we do next? What scene are we shooting next? And it just became that I was the director. And so I'm like, okay, well, apparently my job is that I'm the director now, and I'm the production manager, and I'm the line producer, and I'm all of these things. And so that's not what I wanted, but hey, that's how it has to happen. If I want to be a writer and I want to be an actress, then I've got to do all this other stuff. Yeah. And I'm good at it too, so that helps.
Oh, well,
you are.
And then also it's like, it's something I can carry through. Thank you. It's something I can carry through, the rest of my life. If I can't act anymore, well, I can still direct. And so that's a new skill I've acquired. Because I want to keep doing this forever. I want to keep, I would love to be directing movies in my 80s. And that's the thing that with directing, I'll be able to do.
Yeah.
Just get propped up.
Mm-hmm.
You there? Yeah. Ready? Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, it was so great to listen to you, the two of you, talk about the movie, because that's just what every artist dreams of, is to have their work dissected like that. Because, I think with any artist, whatever it is, you ask your friends and family, you say, did you like it? And they go, yeah, we loved it. And what did you like about it? Well, we loved the whole thing. Well, name something you liked about it. They're like, well, we liked the whole thing. And, well, come on, name something, and if it's like blood from a turnip. You might get them to name one scene or one character they liked. And so it was so nice to have the two of you go through that and point out all the stuff you liked about it. It was just such a pleasure to listen to that, and I appreciated it so much. You have no idea.
Well, it was an example of something that was technically, because we kind of break it down a lot of times, we'll look at it from two aspects. One, from the creative aspect and the writing, and just is a good movie or not. And then the technical aspects, because we've seen some things that were, in terms of the writing, just absolute nightmares. But the project itself was so technically beautiful that you have to talk about it. One thing that did come up was sound. There were a couple wobbly points, and I was just curious.
It was the dialogue specifically. So what do you want to know? What went wrong or what?
Well, my first, question on it was this part of the whole, Betamax thing where sound was coming in and out, or, did something happen? Because just without seeing the sound guy at the end, being all positively charging into the camera. We could tell there was a level of consistency that said, well, good stuff was going on. This wasn't just, a Panasonic tape recorder shoved in someone's front pocket that they were trying to capture sound from each person. But when those moments hit, that was obviously the first question: was this part of the feel of the film, or did something go wrong?
Well, I mean, basically my biggest expense was dialogue, post-production dialogue, having someone go through and fix it, because I speak quietly and Ronnie speaks quietly, and basically the sound was set to these American girls, and American girls kind of talk like this, and they're really blah, 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 blah. So everything was set to somebody talking like an American really loud. And Ronnie and I are more soft-spoken. When we deliver our lines, we do it the way you're supposed to do on film, which is very, very, very quietly and at about this level. If you're on film, about talking like this, and instead, it was set to American Girl sound level, and that was something that I wasn't monitoring, and I didn't know it was a thing I needed to be monitoring, and from now on, that's going to be a thing I monitor. And I really think that it's just that one thing, is those two characters, their dialogue not being loud enough. I think that was the only issue, but it ends up seeming like a bigger issue than it is, because it was the sound. So even though it's just two characters where you can't hear their dialogue clearly, it ends up sounding like a bigger thing than it is.
Well, when there's like an even keel and then you hit that little dip, it does make it look bigger. But we fully appreciate the issues with sound. I'm wrestling with a project that, oh man, come to find out the sound. And I think what it was our director set the sound levels with him going, okay, do we have sound? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And he's very loud. And then everything else is just a little murmur. And they're talking like this. I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's good that you caught it, and now you know that. And
now I know. Yeah, I learned something. So, so we've got to set everything to the quiet actors.
Right. You can always tone sound down. It's hard to tone it up.
It's a very good point. Very good point. So, set it to the most quiet person in the room. But it's funny because Ronnie and I have the lowest voices. So we're the ones speaking the most quietly, whereas these like American girls, you can hear them so well. And, but Ronnie and I, we're the seasoned professionals, and our voices are just, down in this low register and very soft and quiet. So that's what was going on, man. Otherwise the sound was perfect. It's just like I said, if something's off, it seems much bigger than it is.
What do you have on your horizon? Like let's start with the writing aspect. There's something you're working on, or something you have in mind that you want to jump into?
Oh, well, I mean, fortunately, before the pandemic started, I had a lot of stuff in the can, so a lot of stuff is going to be able to come out. I can't do anything creatively. I think what happens to a lot of artists is when this whole thing started, we thought, oh, great, we're going to create a lot of work. And what happened is artists are very attuned to the psychosphere, and we couldn't make anything. We couldn't write anything. We couldn't do anything. And we're just sort of paralyzed because we just feel this horrible thing encompassing us. So it's okay. We're embracing it and taking it in. And, it's actually okay, because no one's going to be able to do anything for a really, really long time. So I'm able to sit back and go, okay, wait till, that lightning strikes again. Something happens where you see The Breakfast Club and you realize Judd Nelson is everything, and you have to make a movie. And wait till that happens. I mean, I had been working on something. I had wanted to shoot it this month, and then I was like, oh, well, maybe I could shoot it in September. And then it's like, oh, no. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. So just sit back and take your time and wait for something to come up. But like I said, a lot of stuff in the can already, so a lot of stuff is going to come out over the next year.
Cool.
Well, you got to let us know about it when you put stuff out.
Oh no, that'd be great.
Yeah, please do, because we'll want to see it and talk about it.
Thank you.
With you.
Thank you.
I think.
May I say a thing, since you guys watch the movie so much? I want to ask somebody something who's watched the movie and paid attention to it, and this is totally self-indulgent.
Sure.
I've never been able to ask anyone this. What did you think of my acting? You're supposed to laugh. You're supposed to laugh when I said that. did you think of my acting?
I thought it was great. Because I saw the character, and I got where it was the everything, the projection of the character was coming from, and I didn't see an issue with it at all. And I missed no.
So it was.
I think.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. I think I run into a hard time because it's so radically different from who I am that people oftentimes are like, "Oh, well, she's just playing herself," and it's like, do you know me? That's the radical, complete opposite of who I am as a person. And so I always want people to, to say like, hey, that's a really good acting job, because it's a problem character actors fall into. Like Benicio del Toro played that character in The Usual Suspects. I found out that everybody thought that was who he was the guy who could barely speak and barely function. It's like, no, he's just a really good actor. And so I feel like that's the thing I've like worked the hardest on, is learning to play this character who's in direct opposition to who I am in every way, who has no emotional affectation whatsoever. And but instead people are like, oh God, she's barely even trying, she's just playing herself. I'm like, oh my God, look me up or something, look up an interview. I'm not like that at all. Give me some credit.
Well, that's where I took it.
That's an acting thing you want. Yeah.
I was gonna say, well, I took it as part of that whole '80s thing. That was one of the character tropes, was the Mr. Spock type of character who, they say they care and they want to do this, but they're just really kind of, you'd have to, light them on fire to get a heightened reaction out of them. And I was actually wondering if towards the end, this was one of those instances where we have that character, and then after the progression of everything comes to a finale, that this was going to be one of the changes. Because you get that where you have a character who's kind of just walled in, very almost monotone, has a very limited range of emotion when dealing with someone close to them or even an associate. It's almost the same. And then towards the end, they, warm up, they find this new thing, because that's a standard thing that can happen.
Okay.
So that's what I was looking at it as, is kind of, straightforward, just, because the whole thing about the description of the characters, with Trista, about you being the father, and, the whole thing, that was kind of the thing. I think in the episode I talked about how 50s that was, because that's exactly, Dad does this, and, is Dad proud of me? I would never know, because he comes home from work and he eats and he's like, okay, what's going on?
Right.
All right, Marge, here's $100, go pay the bills. I'm going to bed. And that's it, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think you did a wonderful job as well. And talking to you, it's very clear.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's very clear that you're not anything like the character, Evan.
Thank you so much.
It did take me a little while watching the movie, because it did say it was the homage and stuff, but it did take a little while for me to click like, oh, this is a John Hughes movie. So when I first started taking notes, I was like, oh, this acting is a little stiff and a little, and then I was like, oh, I get it now.
Interesting.
And then, there's that kind of like, I see what they're doing with this, so I see why this is the way it is. And it was a lot of fun. And I think you did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, when we take notes, we don't watch the film and then think about it and make notes. We take our notes as we're watching. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, because it helps do things like that, like figure, first impression, oh, this is kind of,
right.
If I hadn't known this was an 80s homage film and I hadn't seen any of this stuff, You know, I might have had some things to say about what is going on with that sun. You know, why is it burned out 90% of the screen? And then at some point, be like, okay, I get it now. This is a recurring theme. Well, because in my notes, because we didn't go strictly by the notes when we talked about it in our episode, because we just kind of wanted to hit everything. But in my notes, there's a progression, like, bing, oh, this reminds me of Andrew McCarthy's character in St. Elmo's Fire. Dun, dun, dun. Bing. Oh, this is like Ali Sheedy. Bing, dun, dun, dun. Bing. You know, and you know, and then it finally hit me at some point in the notes. This is St. Elmo's Fire. I know everybody. So that's what makes it fun. And especially with something like this, that makes it fun as it unravels. And then afterwards we can go back and read and be like, yeah, okay, I see what I was thinking. Yeah. What? So we talked about things not going to be the same for a while. And with everything that's going on. What did you have an idea, or have you thought about, like, what is this landscape going to look like? For example, I've thought about just, even if they could get production back to a nearly the way it was level, right? With all those people on set and everyone working and stuff. Intimacy. That's the big thing for me. I mean, we've had enough, you know, decades of implied intimacy on film. And then the Maverick would come along and, oh, they're going to kiss. Oh, you know. Do you see any changes in how that's going to work for the actors, even like a year from now?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't think we're going to be making movies a year from now. I think it's going to be a long time before we're making movies again. So, but in terms of intimacy, I mean, even if you're just talking to somebody, you know, like, even if you're just acting, you know, people see two actors on screen, they don't realize how close they're standing to one another. They also don't realize that there are about 5 other people in the room who are standing right next to them. So the intimacy is, I mean, if it's a love scene or if it's just a talking scene, it's about the same on all levels. And actually, if you're doing a love scene, there's less because there are fewer people because you close the set. So it's actually less there. But I think everybody's in such close quarters that it's not only are things going to have to clear up, but everybody's going to have to be comfortable again. So it's going to take even longer. But, you know, and it's sort of like, well, our movie is going to look like the world that will look like, you know, in 2024, you know, is it going to look like that world, or are we going to be nostalgic and have our characters walking around in a world where we can touch each other and not have to wear masks and everything? And I'm curious about that one. You know, are people going to be, you're going to be like, we can pretend that none of this happens so people can be happy, or will that be impossible? Will it have to be represented that when people meet each other, you know, you don't see their faces, which is going to be weird on film. I don't know. I know animation is going to take off like crazy. This is a great time to be in animation.
Oh yeah. Anything that can be done. Well, we just Apple TV put out a special edition of
Mythic Quest,
the at-home version, as it were, where they put it together and nobody had to leave their home to make it. You know, they did their shots and stuff. I see a lot of that coming, because in standard film, that was sort of getting to be a thing. The POV from the camera, or chats and video chats and things. We see more happening with the character sees on their computer screen. We see it on the screen.
Well, yeah, it's been played around with experimentally, and, you know, just for curiosity's sake and for, you know, let's see how this plays out. And now it's sort of a necessity.
But I think it's also spurring people to greater levels of creativity. You know, I think they're looking at it seriously. Like if we were the three of us say, hey, you know what, let's talk about this project. You know, how could we take Romeo and Juliet and move it to where no one is near anyone? You know, what can we do? Well, you know, what would Romeo and Juliet look like online? Bam, and work that out. Because we know a lot of stuff that's coming out has been in post-production for quite a while, and they were fortunate enough to evolve to a point where it could be done remotely, the last bits and pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing things pop up. But we've also seen a number of series that we watch. That's it. They're done until things can get back to a level of normalcy. You know, we'll never see the finale of Walking Dead. I paid for that season.
Right. Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah. Right. I think that speaks to something I learned, which is that if you're making a TV series, like end the season like you're ending the series, like make it something you can walk out on.
Mm-hmm.
So never leave a cliffhanger, because you never know what's going to happen.
I think, though, maybe I'm an eternal optimist. I don't know. But I think, though, that indie filmmakers are better poised to take advantage creatively with this situation than the big studios are, because you know,
sure.
our world can be whatever we want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, and we haven't had any toys taken away from us.
That's true.
That's right.
We didn't have our big studios taken away.
Yeah. I mean, what's the last project you worked on where you had your separate ADR studio and now you can't access it. So I think it's going to be a huge growth spurt for indie filmmakers and indie film industry with all this, because you're used to working with nothing. You know,
that's true.
Like you said, your first episode of your series, you know, you barely had a camera and you made your progression through it. Right. And it's funny because it's almost like being a kid, you know, I got this camera and look, I can adjust the shutter speed. Woo! Right. And, you know, it's not a $40,000 Panaflex. Someone's looking at as, oh, that's old and inefficient. You know, it's a $1,500 camera that has a feature. Big stuff can be done with little things. I just kind of love it. One thing about, you had mentioned about being creative in this time, because we kind of had that same thing, like, well, we're just going to do this and this and this. We've got projects we're working on. We got things we can wrap up. We got stuff we can start. And we found it's not so much the collective conscience of creatives that's bringing us down in this time of uncertainty. It's being at home more and having ridiculously less amount of time to do stuff. And for us, that's centered around our daughter, who, you know, you would think, oh, well, we've kind of done this. We've done homeschooling before. We've worked from home before. So we'll get up, we'll do the school thing and do the work thing, and we'll do our end of the day family things, and she'll go to bed, and we'll do our writing stuff like we used to. And it just seems like every force in the universe has lined up and said, no. That's
not how your day's going to go.
Yep. It's all the kid.
right.
You know, till 11:30 at night. And it's like, oh, can't even stay up late to work on a script.
Right.
Because we got to get up and wake the kid up. And she can't be more refreshed than us. That won't work. So I guess what kind of adjustments, because you said you haven't, you know, you've had things in the can, but is there any like daily routine that you're craving to get back?
Well, I mean, I've been able to stay doing posts on this stuff a little bit, so that's good. I wish I still had something to look forward to going into pre-production on. Even I wish I had that. I wish I had a date. I mean, I wish I could even say, you know, a year from now I'm going to be able to do this, but you know, I don't think that's going to happen. It's kind of sad, you know. And I'm just like, where will I be? Where will everyone be? You know, 2 or 3 years from now, and it's hard not to know. Like, it's just hard. The not knowing is so hard, and that's kind of discouraging. It makes you not want to write anything. And you know, you go, oh, well, I'll write a novel then. You just can't though, because you're just so bummed out. So it, we're just kind of lost right now, and we're going to be lost for a long time, and we don't even know. Like I said, we don't know what the world is going to look like.
Right.
But yeah, we just can't.
Do you feel a
know.
sense of loss, or
absolutely,
lack of fulfillment? Because excuse me. One thing that we've done in this time was made a decision. We have a sci-fi pilot we'd been shopping around, and we decided to novelize it and then also do a graphic novel series out of it. Excuse me. And what ultimately happened was you're doing the same thing 3 different ways, and it just got to be like, what are we going to do? Because we moved forward with the graphic novel bit. It tanked twice on us. That's fine. And we decided to, okay, we're going to stop the novelization and we're going to work on the graphic novel. And that feels good that, we made this decision, but every day feels like, do I want to try and find someone to pitch this to? Because what if they like it? No. And what if they're like, you know what? We would love to do that. However, there's no television. Mm-hmm. We don't know how to take this very expensive series that you came up with and do it without, putting people together on a set. So it's like, well, it's that, I don't know. It's 6 and done, 6 and 1, half dozen in the other. You're supposed to push your work and be creative, but then it's like, why bother? But then you feel guilty not doing it. And then you feel like a fool for doing it. It's like,
no, you can't get after yourself for that. You can't be on yourself like that. This is an extraordinary situation, so you can't be hard on yourself for whatever's going on. I mean, no one I know has been through anything like this, and so no, take it easy. Go out.
See, but that's how I work. I do it so Danny doesn't have to.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, I'm one of those people, so I'm not as organized as either of you. I go through life on the principle that I think this seems like a good direction to go. And if I go that direction, things will probably work out. Most of the time they do. Sometimes they don't. But
yeah,
most of the time they do.
They do.
Yeah.
But that's why we work so well together. See, you're the chaos Muppet. I'm the order Muppet. And it all balances out.
There we go.
Yeah. What if, and I know this is hard now because, who knows what's going to happen and what people should do. But so for folks who are listening to this and, are like, all right, I'm going to strap my boots on. I'm going to take that first leap into actually doing something instead of just talking about it. What advice would you give these folks to make the leap into action, to actually doing, whether it's writing, directing, producing, acting, or all of it, or just one of them? What would your advice be to people to send them off from the shore?
You mean in general or in light of the pandemic? Because those are radically different questions.
Like in general.
I have an answer to that.
Well, you could
in general.
You could do in general, and then you could, ramp it back, but with this going on, modify that.
Well, in general, okay, you need to be honest with yourself about whether you're a writer or not. And if you think you're a good writer, then you're probably not. Okay? If you're torturing yourself, you might actually be a good writer. If you're miserable and you hate yourself, then if you hate yourself, you're probably a good writer then. But, writing isn't something that, sometimes it comes naturally, but usually you need some training, and find out if you're really a good writer or not. And if you need to accept that if you're not, you're going to have to count on other people to write for you. So that's the thing you said, that there's really great high production things that have horrible screenplays. And that's always such a shame to see. I'll read a screenplay, somebody will send me something. I'm like, you're going to invest $20,000 in this? Like, oh my God, let me have that money. I'll give me half of that. I'll come up with something that people will actually want to watch. So the first step is find out if you're actually a writer or not. And then the same goes for acting. Find out if you're really an actor or not. If you think you're good at acting, you're probably not. If you're torturing yourself, you're probably actually really good at it. And okay, from there, if you just want to be a filmmaker, then follow your heart. Hopefully you just want to be a filmmaker. You just want to be a director. And if that's the case, you follow your heart. You meet people by, it's so great. Well, social media is horrible, but it's great in the sense that you can get online and put together a film crew instantly.
Yeah.
You know, you just post, I need somebody to do this, and you're not going to get paid. Well, you'll end up with somebody. and you do this, you know, you're not going to get paid. You'll end up with somebody. So this is a great time to be the one in charge, because there are plenty of people who want to do lighting. There are plenty of people who want to write scores. There are so many people who want to have these little individual jobs. There's just nobody who's putting it together. So if you're the one who's putting it together, like I have a movie, I have something ready to go, and you're the one, it takes a lot of work though, and you're the one organizing it, you're going to have a whole team of people who are dedicated to what they're doing. So basically, if you want to get into making, you have to accept that it's going to be a lot of work, and that everybody's going to come to you, and that it is all on you, and it's not something you can do halfway. You've got to go all the way. You've got to do more than 100%. You know, you've got to push yourself above and beyond if you want to get something made. And there are a lot of people who are going to talk up some game, right? Especially now, a lot of people who are talking. And I think that's another way to tell who's going to do it and who's not, is the people who are talking about the movies they're going to make are not going to make a movie. But that quiet person, the quiet one you don't really hear from, that's the one who's going to make something happen. So be that quiet person who gives, you've got to work twice as hard to be twice as good, right?
Yeah.
So be that person who works twice as hard, and just put everything you have into it. And if you're a director, be a director. If you're a writer, be a writer. If you're an actor, be an actor. Stick to your thing. Stick to what you're good at. And I mean, very few people, aren't gonna have that kind of stick-to-itiveness, and that's okay. That's okay. You might find out it's not right for you. Okay, well, that's fine. You'll find your place. But if you want to be that one in a million, hey man, there's a spot for you. There is a spot for you in this world, and there's a spot for you to be successful if you work hard enough.
I love that. I love it. And especially the part about the quiet ones, they're the ones who are doing it. Because that's our big thing, is there's two types of, quote, filmmakers or creatives. Let's just say creatives.
Yeah. People who talk about doing it.
Talk about what they're going to work on, what they're going to do, what they're going to do, what they're going to do. And then there's the guy who's like, so I did this, with no conversation. Just, yeah. Right. Now, so with pandemic stuff happening, what would your modification to what you just said be, or what was your advice for that with what's going on?
Well, my advice would be, okay, well, if you're a writer, take writing classes, but not like the online kind. Find a writer. Find a writer whose work you like, and talk to that writer and say, how can I get better? And it's probably gonna be a grumpy old man. So find that grumpy old man who won a literature prize and hasn't written anything in 20 years and who doesn't want to talk to you, and keep on him, and he's gonna want to. He's gonna tell you everything you need to know. Find that grumpy old man. I was lucky enough. I learned from the poet laureate of Kentucky. He wrote quite a bit, and it was all dark, miserable stuff. And I learned everything from him, and that was what he wanted to do, is he wanted to pass along his knowledge to younger people. They didn't know what the hell to do with me. I was 19 and I was writing comedy. It was like, what is this thing? 6 feet tall, 19 years old, and writing comedy. This was no poetry ever. No, no on the nose poetry. Just this. So find that dude, because that's the thing you can do. I would say that's what to do for everybody. If you want to direct, if you're acting, please, for the love of God, do not take an acting class. Just don't. If you want to be an actor, find the dude who's had tiny parts in movies that you like. He's not working right now. He's not. Find that quiet guy who played that one part in that movie, and you've seen him in maybe like 3 things, but he's not making a living, but he's fantastic. Look that guy up and be like, hey, I want to learn how to act. No, damn it, he'll get online with you and talk with you and show you how to do it. Just please don't take acting classes. That's a really strong one. Do not take acting classes ever, ever, ever. Don't take screenplay writing classes. Don't do that one. Don't read any screenplay writing books. Learn from, we have this extraordinary opportunity to learn from geniuses right now. Because, you could learn from geniuses anyway, but we have geniuses who are currently trapped. They're trapped at home, and you have access to them, and they are going to be so lonely that they will want to help you out.
That is a great thing.
Yeah.
He's not working.
Yeah, do that. Talk to those people.
They're desperate for company. Right? Call them up.
Desperate for company. They're not doing anything else. But really, find the grumpy old people who actually know how to do things, and force them to show you how. It's like if you want to convert to Judaism, you have to ask 3 times. You know that? If you want to convert, the rabbi's supposed to turn you away 2 times and say, no, absolutely not. You cannot do this. Sorry, go home. Never come back. I don't want to see you again.
Yep. Then
you come back again. They say, no, you can't do this. Never come back. I don't want to see you again. And then the 3rd time they go, well, okay, we'll maybe entertain this idea. That's the kind of person you want to learn from. You don't want to go to the person who's like, hey, come take my screenplay writing class. You'll learn everything you need to know. That person doesn't know what he's talking about. Do not read Save the Cat. Okay? Nobody ever reads Save the Cat.
The only advice we've given on that respect is when in terms of screenwriting, is 2 things. 1, get some real software. Quit looking for the free stuff. It's one of those things where because they have varying levels of like when we did it, we decided to jump right in and picked up Final Draft. It was $300 back then, and it's still close to that today. We're like, well, if we're going to do this, I'm not going to Mickey Mouse around. I'm going to make the investment because now I have to do something because I'm going to be pissed at myself for years.
Oh, right.
And the only thing that we gleaned any useful information from was we got a book on script formatting, because we're like, well, I don't, and that was it. And we had kind of an up and down road. We thought, well, maybe we need to know more, and we would come to realize that we didn't. We just needed to make sure we stuck with the format, and even formatting is a lot of questions. It was really nice because the author of the book that we used, we reached out to him several times, and he was very gracious on, we got this weird situation. I don't know how to format this in a script. And he, do it this way, and we're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, it's just those little things. I've talked to people about, fire up your software, learn stuff. I'm still learning stuff. Get to know your camera, get to know your phone. Push the limits. What can you do with this thing?
Yeah.
I think that's all really great. Good stuff. And reach out to the people who are lonely.
Who don't want to be reached out to.
Yep.
Reach out to the people who don't want to be reached out to. Those are the ones you want to hear from.
Yep. That is excellent advice. And I think perfect way to wrap up this wonderful. It's
been a pleasure, and thank you so much for reviewing the movie. I loved every second of that. I mean, I'm just going to cherish that forever.
Oh, good.
I very much appreciate. I so appreciate the effort and time you put into that. Like, it really, really meant a lot to me. Like, in my heart, I'm saying that's very heartfelt. It really meant so much to me. You just don't know.
Well, you're very welcome. We were so happy to do it and excited to do it, and to talk to you. I hope we can do this again. And
sure.
We'll go through some other stuff. We would love to see some more new stuff roll out.
Yeah. Do you have any other kind of projects or stuff that's out there that you'd like to plug in this episode?
Oh, I mean, there's the Girl Scene. You can watch the TV series and the movie. They're both on Amazon. I also have another TV series on Amazon called Dagger Kiss, and the movie version of that is what's going to be one of the things that's going to be coming out this year.
Ooh.
And so just just, something else. I'm not going to say what it is yet. I'm going to just drop. I'm going to do that, thing where, artists just drop an album. I'm just going to drop this thing on people, and it's going to be fantastic.
Excellent.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be watching.
Thank you so much for yeah. Oh, thank you. I so appreciate that.
Well, this has been an excellent conversation with Tucky Williams, girl scene, champion of not putting up with trolls bullshit.
Incel terrorists.
Yeah. And I hope everyone has enjoyed this. Thank you so much, Tucky.
Well, thank you. It's such a privilege.
And we'll roll it out there. Good night, everyone.
All right.
I have so much fun every time we do an interview. It makes me want to just do interviews all the time.
It's wonderful talking to all these excellent filmmakers and people in the industry. And this one was no exception. It was wonderful.
Yeah. And every time it kind of goes back to like our mission of bringing light to these B movies and these filmmakers and all these people, in the indie creative sphere. It's really gratifying and it's really nice.
Well, it is. And, to make these connections.
Yeah.
And, hopefully one day we'll be talking about Tucky's upcoming projects.
Right.
Or they'll be out. Not
and talking to her again.
Yeah. Just like everybody. I want to get Dave and Liam back on here and
and Eric
and Eric and
Anton
and Hilton and Anton is busy.
I know he's a busy guy.
Following his Instagram, those wonderful shots of the most exciting part of the process, rendering graphics.
Hey, Blender.
Take for fucking ever. But it's got to get done.
It does.
None of these people have a $1 billion special effects house on a ranch.
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that in indie filmmaking, it's usually down to 1 or 2 people doing everything.
Right.
Everything.
Yep. And indie filmmaking is separated from standard B movies because B movies are studio run, right, and they have access to all those resources. Mm-hmm. So that's where a lot of the budget comes in. Yeah. Is they do give them an effects house. They do give them a budget. Yeah. For all the post work where like like all of them, everyone, sitting down in front of the computer. It's like, I'm carving out 2 hours today to try and hack something together or to set up a nice 27-hour render across 5 machines.
Oh yeah. Get a render farm going.
Oh yeah. But these interviews are awesome because we get so much great advice.
I know.
And one thing that she said is kind of what we have talked about many times is ditch the shit from your life. Yeah. And that means people.
Right? If there's a bad apple in your fruit basket, it's gonna fuck up your whole basket.
It absolutely is. So this is hard enough to do. Mm-hmm. It's hard enough. I don't know of anyone I've read in interviews over decades in the business, the people we've talked to, nobody is 100% confident of what they do.
I know.
It's always, it's creation. You're creating something. As a creative, you're always doubting. So it's hard enough to get shut done. It's hard enough to get that film made. It's hard enough to get that fucking fade out on the final draft of your script and feel, confident than to have someone who's, shitting on you all the time or, trying to, fuck you over under the table.
Right.
You don't need that. You don't need that. And so I think that's one of the big takeaways from this.
Yeah.
Is it reiterates, get rid of the people who aren't helping you.
Yeah.
And by helping, not offering advice, not, trying to find you money, but people who, when you wake up and you run into that, I don't know what to do today. You've got that group of people who are like, well, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go do your thing.
Yeah, right? Surround yourself with people who build you up, who give you constructive advice, who are on your team.
Yeah, and believe in you.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing. They don't have to believe in what you're doing because as a creative, you're going to ruffle feathers, right? You're going to attack sensibilities. in almost anything that you do. But, good friends, good people to have around, or people are like, I don't know about this project, but you know what? You're good.
Yeah.
You're good at what you do. Whatever. I don't know if I like it, but it's going to be kick ass for what it is,
Yeah.
So.
With that.
Yes.
You can find links in our show notes to stuff for...
Yeah, it'll be to the Girl movie.
Yep.
Girl Scene movie, Girl Scene series.
Mm-hmm.
They're both on Prime Video, so if you find one, you'll instantly find the other. But I'll have them up there. I'm also going to put a link to the webpage that has information on all the things we talked about at the beginning of the interview.
And the story.
Yeah, of how victory over the fuckheads.
Right.
And also
go to our website,
which is
www.lordsofmisrollproductions.com. Totally didn't trip over it this time.
Didn't pause for a second.
I know it. You can find links to well, you can find our podcast on our website. You can find our blog. You can find links to wherever you get your podcast so that you can subscribe and get notified when there are new episodes, which there are every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday, folks.
And we don't take breaks. We don't have seasons for this podcast. I know a lot of other podcasts have seasons. We just keep going.
Well, yeah, if I don't know about all of the platforms, but I know Apple has us listed as season 1. I think they go by your anniversary date.
Oh.
Yeah, we don't, whatever. We're just going like most is, one day, hopefully be like episode 905.
I can't wait.
I know. Yeah, check out past interview episodes. If you want to bombard yourself with some really good talks and some really good knowledge coming from the people who are in the industry.
Yeah, and we've talked to people all over the spectrum.
Yes.
From I paid for this whole movie myself out of pocket to people who actually got funding for their movies.
Yep.
Actors, writers, producers, directors.
Yeah, people working in the industry outside of the work that they do for themselves. So there's, a lot of names. They're all right there.
Yeah.
Interview with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, folks. Also catch our episodes. If listeners by now know we have spoilers. We go through the whole episode. There's a couple that we didn't because we just really wanted people to see those so bad. We didn't want to talk about the ending, but everything that we wanted to talk about lesson wise
was talked about in the episode.
Yeah. So we got it covered, but
keep up with us on social media. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, hang out with us on Instagram.
Yeah. And, check out our video shorts on YouTube, video excerpts from our audio episodes. For anyone who hasn't caught on yet, we're not doing the full audio on YouTube just simply because it's an audio podcast and it's just too much. So doing these little video excerpts, kind of gives you a little, behind the scenes of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And, couple little snippets, and then you want to hear the whole thing, you know where to go. Our website, your platform, wherever. All right.
Also,
yes,
if you like our podcast and you want to become a patron,
yes,
you can find us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Bravo for the B-side, all one word. You cannot search for us on Patreon because we say fuck, shit, ass.
Yeah, we're explicit, and you can't search on explicit.
They don't pop up. They don't populate in search.
Patreon wannabes.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can also find the link to our Patreon page on our website.
And there's a link on YouTube up in the banner. Link to our Patreon page. So there and the website, you don't have to worry about doing anything. Just click.
Yeah.
All right.
So patrons get access to episodes a week early. They also get input on what movies we watch. Once a month we do a poll. And we're looking to build up what our patrons get, because we want to support the people and, give back to the people who support us.
Yep. So the more we get, the more we're going to give.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. B-siders.
Thank you for listening.
It has been another great week for us, and we hope you've enjoyed listening to us talking with Tucky. She is magnificent.
I love her.
I can't wait for this shit to end, because I would love to meet and have coffee with these people. I know they're all over the country, right? But we can't even fucking go down the street right now and see anything. But anyway.
Well, we'll catch you next Tuesday. Until then, I'm Danny.
And I'm Jim.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.